Clarity and Connection by Yung Pueblo Diego Perez. Picture this, you're in the middle of a heated argument about something trivial, like dirty dishes left on the counter. But suddenly, it's not about the dishes anymore. The conversation spirals into territory about respect, about feeling invisible, about wounds you thought had closed years ago. You look at this person you love, and it's like you're both strangers, controlled by invisible puppeteers made of pain and memory. The author of today's book has a striking way of describing this moment. It's trauma arguing with trauma. Or maybe you know that suffocating feeling of disappointment when life doesn't match the mental movie you've been playing on repeat. You've scripted this perfect relationship, this dream career, this Instagram-worthy existence. And when reality dares to be messy and different, everything feels like it's crumbling. You're so busy chasing tomorrow's fantasy that today's beauty passes you by completely unnoticed. These moments of feeling disconnected, trapped in loops you can't escape, fighting battles inside your own head, they're not random misfortunes. They're signals pointing to something deeper, like static interference, preventing you from tuning into the frequency of your true self. Today's book is essentially a user manual for clearing that interference. It's called Clarity and Connection, written by Diego Perez under the pen name Yung Pueblo. His story alone is worth hearing. He was born in Ecuador, moved to the United States as a child, and eventually found himself sitting in complete silence at a meditation retreat that rewired his entire existence. In that profound quiet, he discovered something radical. Real transformation doesn't come from rearranging your external world, but from exploring the universe inside you. He chose the name Yung Pueblo, meaning young people, because he believes we're all part of a generation waking up to deeper self-awareness and healing. This isn't a book promising overnight miracles or trendy life hacks. Instead, it's a thoughtful invitation to embark on the most significant expedition you'll ever take, the one into yourself. Here's what I'm offering you today. By the time we finish, you'll understand the hidden operating system of your own mind, why certain things trigger you, why your relationships sometimes feel stuck on repeat, and why your past clings to your present like a shadow you can't shake off. Beyond understanding, you'll have an actual roadmap leading to inner peace, crystal clear thinking, and those soul-deep connections you've been craving. This isn't just about feeling a bit better, it's about becoming someone new. Let's dive in. To truly grasp the journey Yung Pueblo maps out, we first need to understand where we're all standing right now. Imagine your mind not as a blank canvas, but as a terrain sculpted by every single experience you've lived through. Every moment of happiness, every sting of rejection, every instance of intense emotion, they've all carved their mark into you. He calls this your emotional history. For most of us, especially after trauma or prolonged difficulty, we unconsciously shift into survival mode. We don't notice it happening. We wrap ourselves in protective numbness, numb to our inner chaos, numb to genuine intimacy. We fill every quiet moment with distractions, noise, anything to avoid facing the storm brewing inside. Our relationships become surface level, not because we're uncaring, but because we've moved out of our own house. We're absent from ourselves. We can travel to new cities, meet fascinating people, switch jobs, and yet somehow end up with identical problems, because the one thing we haven't changed is our inner landscape. This emotional history creates a powerful, distorting lens. We believe we're seeing reality clearly, but we're actually viewing everything through the smudged glass of past conditioning and present emotional turbulence. This is why we get trapped in cycles. We recognize we're repeating old patterns, and honestly, that recognition itself is progress. But without going deeper, we're doomed to keep replaying the same scenes. The friction grinding inside our minds inevitably spills into our relationships. This is the core problem the book identifies. We're disconnected from ourselves, and that inner disconnection is the secret source of our external chaos. So what's the way out? It's not somewhere out there, it's in here. The most transformative shift in your life, Pueblo explains, happens when you choose to turn inward. This is the pivot point. It's that moment when you stop running from yourself and instead gently turn to face what's inside with acceptance. This isn't about battling or fixing yourself. It's about observing, and the tool for this observation is self-awareness. Self-awareness is like switching on the first light in a dark room. It's the foundation for everything else. It arrives before the quantum leap in your personal evolution. It's simply the practice of noticing. Noticing the pattern of your thoughts. Noticing when your thinking is clear versus when it's clouded and reactive. Noticing that your self-perception during low moods is about as trustworthy as a funhouse mirror. This awareness is a skill, and like learning an instrument, it requires regular practice. It requires you to question your perceptions and excavate your true motivations. This inward journey can get uncomfortable. As you start exploring inside, you might uncover layers of old pain that have been buried for years. Pueblo wisely warns us that when healing goes deep, there can be an explosion of emotion that erupts to clear out old energetic debris. You might feel most turbulent right before settling into more substantial peace. This is completely normal. It's part of the process. The goal isn't to perform calmness when you're feeling turbulent. It's to accept what surfaces without adding extra tension to it. As you cultivate this self-awareness, you begin the central work of the book, which he calls unbinding. This is the art of letting go. Now, letting go gets thrown around constantly, but what does it actually mean in practice? Pueblo offers a beautiful and practical definition. Letting go doesn't mean you've given up or stopped caring. It's not about erasing memories or pretending things never happened. In fact, he explicitly says to abandon the idea that healing equals forgetting. The real marker of healing is no longer reacting to old triggers with the same intensity as before. The memories remain, but they've lost their power over your mind. Letting go is the unbinding and disentangling of old behavioral patterns that pull you into unnecessary mental tension and worry. We accumulate these patterns throughout our lives, especially during emotionally intense moments. They become hardwired into our subconscious. Time doesn't heal these wounds. It just allows them to sink deeper, where they continue shaping our emotions and behavior from the shadows. What truly heals is the intentional work of going inward, of loving and accepting yourself, and learning to release these patterns. One of the most powerful patterns we need to unbind is our attachment. This is a crucial distinction Pueblo makes. Having desires, goals, or preferences isn't wrong. Wanting things isn't the problem. The problem is attachment. Attachment is the mental tension you experience when you don't get exactly what you crave. It's refusing to accept change, or attempting to control everything around you. When a simple desire combines with tension, it transforms into craving. Craving, he explains, is a bottomless pit. Even when we get what we crave, the satisfaction evaporates quickly, and soon the mind returns to craving more, because craving has become its default mode. This is the source of so much suffering. We get crushed by our own expectations, those rigid scripts we write about how life should unfold. We become so fixated on what's missing that we miss the precious moments right in front of us. The path to freedom is learning to have goals without being attached to outcomes. It's pursuing your dreams without making your happiness hostage to future achievements. It's learning to embrace change as life's only constant. When we truly understand that everything is constantly flowing and moving, our tension naturally decreases. This leads to another game-changing perspective shift. Pueblo clarifies that it's not about managing your emotions, it's about managing your reactions to your emotions. This is revolutionary. You cannot control the waves of emotion passing through you. Joy, sadness, anger, fear, they're as natural as weather. Trying to suppress them is like trying to hold a beach ball under water. Eventually, it will explode upward with even more force. The real work is bringing awareness into the space between feeling an emotion and acting on it. Your initial reaction, he points out, is usually your past trying to hijack your present. It's an old pattern erupting from the subconscious to protect you. But this protection is based on survival instinct, not wisdom. When we can shine the light of awareness into that moment, we create a pause. In that pause lies choice. We can see more options. We can choose to respond thoughtfully instead of reacting blindly. We can feel a difficult emotion rise and choose not to act it out or amplify it. This is genuine maturity, observing your inner turbulence and pausing before projecting your feelings onto what's happening around you. So we've journeyed inward. We've cultivated self-awareness. We've begun unbinding our attachments and managing our reactions. What happens next? How does this inner work reshape our outer world? This is where the second half of the book's title, Connection, fully blossoms. The first and most vital connection that deepens is with yourself. You stop being a stranger in your own home. You discover what truly rejuvenates you, the amount of solitude you need, the activities that spark your creativity, the people who light up your spirit. You begin building a home within yourself, a palace of peace constructed with your own awareness and love. This becomes your refuge, a source of strength no one can take from you. And from this place of interconnection, a completely new kind of relationship with others becomes possible. Pueblo states it plainly. You cannot build a deep connection with someone who is disconnected from themselves. The depth of connection you can have with another person will only ever match the depth of the relationship you have with yourself. When you've done the inner work, you show up differently. You bring new clarity to your interactions. You learn the art of selfless listening, hearing someone's truth without projecting your own story onto it, receiving their perspective with complete acceptance. You learn how to hold space for another person, to act as a compassionate witness for their truth, without interrupting or trying to fix them. This is one of the greatest gifts you can offer anyone. Your relationships transform from being based on rigid expectations to being built on clear communication and voluntary commitments. Expectations are unspoken demands that lead to disappointment. Commitments, however, emerge from honest conversations. They come from asking a partner, "How can I better support your happiness?" When two people voluntarily commit to supporting each other's harmony, it creates space for freedom and trust. Trust flourishes in the absence of control. A vibrant relationship in this view isn't about two people merging into one. It's about two whole individuals committed to their own growth, walking side by side. It's a sanctuary where you're safe to be vulnerable. It's finding a partner who isn't afraid to grow, who accepts you as you are while also inspiring you to evolve. You don't have to be completely healed to be in a loving relationship. The couples who thrive are the ones who commit to healing and growing together. This same principle extends to friendships. The deepest friendships feel like coming home, where you can drop the performance and be authentic. They're spaces where vulnerability is welcomed. And a sign of a truly deep bond is what he calls sympathetic joy. The genuine joy you feel for someone else's success, completely free of jealousy. As you continue this journey, you begin to see that healing isn't a destination with a finish line. You don't pause your life until you're completely healed. That's just another form of attachment to perfection. The goal is to embrace healing as a lifelong journey and allow genuine connections to emerge naturally along the way. Progress happens when you make better choices while actually living your life. And this is where the book takes its final, expansive turn, connecting personal healing to collective transformation. Yung Pueblo suggests that each human being is a microcosm of the world. The reactive patterns in our minds mirror the rigid and harmful systems in society. The wounds we carry get passed down through time, from person to person, like an inheritance nobody asked for. He says one of the most heroic acts anyone can perform is to break this chain of hurt. When people heal themselves, they stop the hurt from multiplying. They become a point in the vast web of humanity where harm can no longer spread. Your inner work isn't selfish, it's a profound service to the world. The self-awareness we cultivate helps us rise above old conditioning and reduce the harm we recreate in our interactions. The compassion we grow for ourselves naturally expands to embrace all people. He calls on us to recognize that our task is to make compassion structural, to build a world where people feel safe and have their needs met. This inner work and outer work aren't separate, they fuel each other. Self-awareness that transforms into collective action is the medicine this earth desperately needs. When you heal yourself, you also heal the future. In the end, clarity and connection leaves us with a quiet, powerful truth. A successful life isn't about getting everything you want. It's not about constant happiness. Real happiness is being able to enjoy life with a peaceful mind that isn't constantly craving more. It's the inner peace that comes with embracing change. The journey inward isn't easy. It demands effort, honesty, and patience. But if you persist, the fruits of your labor will transform your life. Your mind feels lighter. Your vision becomes clearer. You start showing up in your life and relationships, ready for deeper connection. You learn that you are a river, always changing, while flowing gently toward complete freedom. As we step back from clarity and connection, what resonates most deeply with me is its profound simplicity. In a world constantly screaming for more success, more followers, more possessions, this book whispers a revolutionary idea. The path to a richer life isn't through addition, but through subtraction. It's about unbinding, releasing, and removing the layers of conditioning and old pain that obscure the peace already living within you. The most transformative lesson, in my view, is the distinction between managing our emotions and managing our reactions to them. This is a subtle but life-altering shift. So many of us waste energy feeling guilty about sadness or ashamed of anger. We try to control the internal weather. Yung Pueblo gives us permission to let it rain, to let storms pass naturally, and to instead focus our energy where we actually have power, in the pause. In that tiny space between feeling and action, an entire universe of freedom exists. That's where growth happens. That's where we choose who we become. What makes this book especially relevant today is its insistence that our inner well-being connects directly to the world's well-being. It dismantles the myth that self-care is selfish. Instead, it frames healing as a fundamental act of responsibility. When you do the work to heal your wounds, you ensure that people who cross your path are safer. You become a force for peace, not necessarily by activism in the streets, but by refusing to be a vessel for inherited anger and fear. In our deeply interconnected and often turbulent world, there's perhaps no greater contribution. So how can you apply these ideas today, right now, in your actual life? Let's keep it simple. First, practice the pause. The next time you feel a strong emotional reaction rising, frustration with a coworker, anxiety about a deadline, annoyance in traffic, just for 1 second, notice it. Don't judge it, don't try to stop it, just observe it. That single moment of awareness is where everything begins. Second, ask the question. Yung Pueblo gives us a beautiful one to carry. Is this how I actually feel? Or is this my emotional history trying to recreate the past? Just asking this question can untangle you from an automatic reaction and restore your power of choice. And third, practice selfless listening. The next time you're with someone you care about, set an intention to simply listen. Don't plan your response. Don't try to fix their problem. Just offer them the clean, quiet space of your complete attention. Notice how it changes the connection between you. That was our journey through Clarity and Connection by Yung Pueblo. We've explored the core ideas today, but I'll be honest. A summary is like viewing a photograph of a beautiful landscape. The real magic happens when you walk through it yourself. It's in those quiet moments when a particular phrase or simple poem resonates in an unexpected way. This overview is designed to help you decide if this path is worth walking. If anything we've discussed sparked something in you, I encourage you to pick up a copy. Reading it isn't just about learning. It's an experience, a meditation that can genuinely transform how you relate to yourself and the world. A link to the book is in the description below. Also, if this exploration brought you any value or a moment of clarity, it would mean everything if you'd hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. That way, you won't miss our next deep dive into another life-changing book from the Billionaire's Bookshelf. Let's keep learning and growing together.